Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Today we're doing a deep map analysis of potential search locations, including dodgy, questionable places and areas of interest. Before we continue, if you haven't already checked out my previous video, I've introduced the membership only section on my main channel page, which you can click to join. It includes access to exclusive badges, personal ones, which change over time depending on how long you've been a member for, including exclusive emojis, which can be used in the likes of live premieres like now in the chat, and as well priority to responding to comments, whether it be in a normal video in the comment section or, as said, a live premiere like the chat right now, because sometimes it might get cluttered, it might get messy, but if you've got one of those like little badges next to the username, it adds a unique touch and it makes you stand out, and it's easier to, refer back to people when responding as well. So feel free to join if you wish to at any point, any time. So let's get right back into this video. So map analysis, Google Earth. We're not doing Dylan's farm this time. We're going to be taking a look at Montello, because that was the last known location Dylan was seen on the 26th of May. It's also a place where Kurt has been, Ty, Dylan's dad as well, Justin Rounds, Salty Pancakes, other investigators. There's been some key people in that area or people who live in that area. So it's worth taking a look, but we're going to be taking a look at the whole area. That's the key thing in this video, okay? The outer skirts, the buildings, the barns, the sheds, the containers, everything, okay? And we're going to do it bit by bit and do a breakdown of it, because this could help rule out areas which have been searched and haven't been, because you never know. So let's get into the video now and begin. Okay, so here we are on Google Earth. As you can see, what I have done is put like a red border boundary around the outer skirts of it, just so we can focus in on the exact location and key areas, okay? So I have color coded it. The blue spots are like areas to investigate, places to ask questions, because it could be houses or businesses, like where you go around asking people for information or interviewing people. So that's the blue boxes. The purple ones, there's only two. They're like the factual locations. So the purple one being the boots over here near Dylan's farm, well, his barn. I did readjust it, okay. This is the location here. Now, it's not exactly clear, obviously, but that's like the burning pit, which has also been described as the dirt mound. You can see it looks kind of raised and there's a bit of stuff going on there. So that's the key correction, okay? And that's a factual place where evidence was found. And then the second one being Montello itself, if we zoom in here, where Saddle Saw Bar is, in which Dylan did visit at times, and where he was last seen on the 26th, okay? And then finally, you've got two more colour-coded ones. The green ones are the suspicious, strange-looking locations, which could be abandoned, or maybe Dylan could be held captive there, okay? And then the yellow ones are points of interest, which look interesting, but also, Dylan could be located there as well, okay? So we will start off with the blue spots first, okay? And I did number it, so maybe we can follow that. It might be a bit easier. Where's number one? There we go. Actually, what I just want to mention very quickly is I know you've got this location all the way up here, but when I was scanning around, I couldn't see any key buildings or anything suspicious. I know you've got other farms here, but just because of the land and the crops, it looks better maintained. It just looks more professional. It doesn't look as dodgy. Now, I know you can say there might be some locations where looks can be deceiving and maybe someone bad is hiding out there, maybe Dylan is, but it just looks a bit more, I don't know, upper class in a sense in terms of farming. It just looks better maintained. So I'm just focusing closer to Montello, where some of the key individuals have been, okay? So let's get into it properly now. So not too far away from Montello, where the bar is and some houses, the church, we've got the first spot down here. And the reason why is it just stood out to me. Now, I might be wrong in saying, but I think this might be the road what we saw Salty Pancakes on, maybe, which went to Montello. I may be wrong. It's just because, from a correction of a comment, do you know those abandoned buildings, what we saw in the Montello footage at the very start, the video I covered and analysed? You had like 2 abandoned buildings. One was quite big and it was like boarded up, blacked out. And the question was, I wonder what it's used for. Could Dylan be hidden there and no one knows? Or could it be used for drugs like a meth lab? So this might be the location. I may be wrong. But nevertheless, there is some key buildings within this area. And not too far off, there seems to be this here. I don't know what it is. It just caught my eye, and that's from aerial viewpoint. Is it rocks or bushes? I'm not too sure. But this is the key area I've marked to begin with. So yeah, you've got a main road here. And then it's this, which is kind of interesting, like a square box. And I don't know if it's fenced off or not, or it's like a row of hedges, trees, bushes, which goes all the way around like a perimeter. It just seems to stand out, doesn't it? I don't know if I can flip the image. Not really. But you see what I mean? You got a dirt road. You got a fairly newish barn. Okay. Oh, can I just make a big key point first of all? I do understand that this map and everything isn't directly up to date, but I'm working with what I've got, okay? Did the same exact thing with the Kenny Veach mystery, but it was still somewhat successful, okay? As for buildings, you know, most will still be there right now, maybe in slightly worse condition as before. I think the only thing that may move around could be RVs, where, you know, where people camp out and live because it's mobile homes, so they could move elsewhere. That's the only thing to take into mind. But an area like this, you got a fairly newish barn, which looks in good condition. I don't know what's at the back of it though, but it looks secluded and cornered. You know, it looks dark, you know, in terms of the main road and from Montello, bit of a distance away, you know, distance away from quite a lot of the stuff. It's like the outer skirts of this area. It's like a compound or some kind of fortress in a way, in the middle of nowhere, guarded by rows of hedges, and then within you've got a settlement almost. You know what I'm saying? We can try and measure the distance in a second to get an idea. But you've got this road here. Is there a name of it? I don't know if there is. It's next to Immigrant Creek, okay? The coordinates are the bottom right corner of the screen if you wish to note them down, okay? So you got the main road here, which does reach Montello. There's a turn off at this spot here, as you can see, which goes into the place. So unfortunately it's not 3D, so I'll have to flip the image up. Row of trees. And then there seems to be designated spots. There's like a square there, a rectangle there, and then like another designated spot. And then behind it is the one with the barn. So I don't know if this is a farming place or maybe if other buildings are to be placed in each zone, in each sector maybe. As for other key things, you've got some white thing there, which could be maybe a trailer or some kind of RV. Does look a little smaller. Not exactly clear, to be fair. And then by the side of this barn, which is kind of hidden, something red, which could be a trailer or it could be one of those small tractors, okay? What's the chances Dylan is locked up in this barn? Or where that pile of rubbish is, the debris. It just looks like a bit of a spooky looking place. I don't think it's a house or anything like that. It might just be for farming. And then if we just zoom in there, near that tree, there seems to be another building. I don't know if that's a house or a small shed maybe, but you can just about make it out. Kind of interesting. Up here, pretty plain, bits of vegetation. You got these white patches, could be stones, rocks and stuff, possibly. Apologies about the background sound. Yeah. And then the final thing that does stand out is this. Now, you know, it could look like a house, but it looks like one of those, oh, what do you call it? I honestly forgot the name of it, but like what you would see in a park, you know, with that circular roof, and you can go underneath it and like sit about. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know the name of it, but yeah, like a sitting range where you can just sit down and relax, what you'd see in a park. It looks like one of those, but what's it doing here in the middle of nowhere, and how many people would use it? Now, I could be completely wrong, and it might be a farming building, but just the shape of it. There's a few things going on back here. Can't quite make them out. Could be a bit of debris. Seems to be a little object or something around the back of this part. So this is the first one that stood out just because it looks unique. Has anyone been in this area before? Has anyone explored? If so, feel free to leave comments down below in the live chat or just in the comment section itself, saying whether you have been there, whether you found anything or not, or if you know other people who have cleared the area, okay? As said, the coordinates are bottom right corner of the screen, so we can keep track of it that way. And we're currently facing north, okay? So nearby there seems to be some other buildings, and this looks a bit more populated, or there's at least some activity going on. It's like on the same road itself, as you can see. Just flip the image so you can see. There you go. There does seem to be something here, but I think that is just a sign. I know it's not 3D, but it looks like a sign, just like advertising, maybe saying welcome to Montello or something like that. As you can see, it turns off down another dirt road, which is here. And you can see a few vehicles. Now, I don't know if this is a scrap yard, a farmyard, or if it's just a place where people live. You do have a red truck there, but it won't be Dylan's. I can't imagine it. You might wonder why I say that as well, because, you know, if this is from 2021, you never know. It might even capture Dylan's truck in a random area. Is that of any interest? Well, kind of, because you get an idea of where he may have been in the past and what he got up to. You never know. So it's just worth taking some time. There seems to be like a little box there. I don't know if it's a sign or a small trailer, but yeah. In this area, there seems to be quite a bit of junk and maybe bits of metal. Nearby, you do have a building. I'm not sure if it's a barn, a hangar of some sort. It could even be a house. You never know, because you've got people that live and work in the same exact area. So there you go. Could Dylan be in this area? I mean, it's one of those things where, just briefly, if we tie this location with the one almost, where is it? The one here. It's next to like a main road, so it's accessible. If we just do a quick distance check just to get an idea. I do understand the whole mileage thing, okay? So do you know, like where people said you got to do it on the road, but it won't let me, okay? Like, oh, there we go. It doesn't let me do it exactly, or does it? Or maybe it does. There we go. So just like a rough one, okay? About 2.41 miles. which isn't that far, and especially in a car, you'll get there in no time. So it's just trying to get that understanding that if it's nearby, it's accessible, it's practical, and if it's a suspect, a criminal, maybe a family member, you never know, they can get to these locations fairly easily. So is there anything else that stands out? Well, it's just those like white things. I don't know if they're RVs, like if people live in them or not. It might just be complete junk, as you can see around it. There's not too much going on in this area. Looks fairly normal. But over this way, there seems to be a few little buildings going on. And what makes it interesting, I don't know if it's the rendering, but it just seems blurred out. Why is it blurred out? Now, in the past, if there was something going on at a military base, it would be blurred out because of secrecy. There is even certain airports around the world which have been blurred out, including a place in Greece, I think. So why has it been blurred out here? Unless it's just because of poor image quality, just because, it's outdated or something. Or there might have been some technical errors at the time. But could they be hiding anything in these blurred out parts? Because that's visible. But why isn't that? What's behind that? And as you saw, it did render 100% and it's still blurred out. Very weird. You know what isn't blurred out? This area here, which looks like abandoned containers. What are they storing in there? Simply equipment, or maybe Dylan? You know what I'm saying? It's in a remote location. Who's going to hear anyone bang on the doors asking for help? No one. There's a few little white buildings there as well. And then some other stuff back here. Just flip the image. Oops, come on. There you go. That looks like another container or crate there, which is interesting. You got another one there, which bit of an L shape, kind of building house. And then another object there, which is kind of blurred out, which once again is kind of strange. So yeah, this was the first location, first key point. What we'll do now is just take a quick look up here, not too far away, because I didn't mark literally every single building, but if there was a number of buildings or locations in a very close area proximity, I just rounded it up and put one marker so it would remind me to check these spots out. That could be a house. When you get these sort of buildings, as I said, where it might just be normal people living there, getting on with the normal life and stuff, it's more to do with, could they know something about Dylan? Have they met him before? Have they worked with him in some way, collaborated? Do they know anything? So it's not all about saying, right, Dylan's locked up in this location, these people are responsible, because that would give a false image. It would lead to misinterpreting people and labelling individuals as criminals when they're completely innocent. But it's just like that thing like what YouTubers have done where they've actually gone to the area or done call-ins, interviews with people within the area, like how they've done with Kurt, whether that went good or bad, like how they did with Ty. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we won't focus too long on these areas. So yeah, like another barn or shed, a few vehicles nearby. That looks like junk again, but then equally it looks like there is some materials as well. So not much going on there. A bit further up, you've got a few more buildings with vehicles, another red one, and then there's an RV. Doesn't look too suspicious, but you never know. We zoom out, and that's about it for that zone. Closer to Montello, there's not much there. Montello Creek, you do have this part which kind of looks a little dodgy. I wonder if this is the bit what Salty Pancakes drove past. I might be wrong. It just looks a little bit dodgy. We zoom in. I don't know what that grey thing is. It might just be bits of junk and scrap metal scattered around the land. You got these dark black trees which look like they've been burnt down, but it might be just the sun catching them. That could be wood chopped up maybe. These two buildings here which look pretty old. I don't know if that's got holes in the roof. Looks worn, decayed over time. Maybe the sort of spot you might take someone to interrogate, to lock up, to imprison. And you've got some smaller buildings here which run along the border of this perimeter. Yeah, those black patches are just the shadowing of the trees, okay? So that might give that false impression of black trees. So it looks like farmland because it kind of looks like the ground has been scraped, maybe. It might be an abandoned farmyard of some sort. But yeah, you get the idea. You do have these, like, what do you call them, crop circles? Or is that what you call it with the UFOs, where it's circular? Which does look better maintained. We're not going to focus too much on these locations, okay, because they're not dodgy enough and they look better maintained. Have you noticed the image quality not as clear now? It must just be in certain areas, okay. So we've done number 1. So location number 2 is down here. We just zoom in. There's actually 2 spots to look at. We'll do the one on the left first of all. And once again, you can see dirt paths going left, right and centre. As you can see, there seems to be some kind of main road here, I guess. Hopefully I'm not wrong, because I believe in one of the previous videos it was railway tracks and not a road, but this does look like some kind of dirt road. Now, in terms of this spot, there's a few trees growing in this section and a couple of buildings too. Seems to be a white car there. Bit pixelated, I don't know what's going on there. And it just looks like another barn, followed by a smaller one, and then some other stuff nearby. Oh, and then some more back here as well. It could just be for storing material and equipment, but you know, you can also store people in there too, depending on the situation. So if people work here, live here, would it be worth investigating, asking them about, you know, do they know of Dylan? You know, it's worth a try maybe. Slightly brown coloured in that part. I don't know what that is, if it's clay or some other kind of material. Saw a few of those patches on Dylan's land. Kind of interesting. Yeah. We'll move to the one nearby here, which it might be connected, you know, as a business of some sort. Looks kind of populated in a way. Now that looks like shadowing of, is it like a radio mass or something like that for signals? It looks like some kind of tower, and that's the shadow of it it's giving off. Yeah, power station maybe? I'm not an expert, but yeah. Around this area it looks like there's some kind of trailers, RVs once again. Some blue thing there. Looks like a little caravan. And then some more like sheds and buildings. They're kind of long in length. They look like rusty trailers by the side. So I don't know if this is like a small little neighbourhood where people are living. That looks like either scrap or materials where they just gather it for doing whatever. A few more vehicles as well. I don't know if they're in use or not. But yeah, you'll notice a pattern. You'll see a couple of these around the area of Montello. These buildings look in better shape. But there you go. You got another yellow container of some sort. You never know, someone could be inside of it. I'll try not repeat myself too much when I come out with that line again. What's that little black line? That might just be one of those overhead power lines. You'll see a few of them by the side of the road. Yeah, that's power line. You can see there's one there, and it just goes on and on along the side of the road, providing it is a road and not a railway track. So yeah, just another little spot to look at, okay? Now, we might as well move on to the mysterious place, as I said, about the different colour codes, because it's within the area, okay? Abandoned building, what could this be? Well, it's nearby. We just zoom on in. Can you see what I mean by it looking a bit dodgy? You know, you've got the land. Looks like it's been scraped. You know, not as much vegetation in this sector. But got some brown stuff there. Objects, debris, maybe. And then above it, you got some kind of, is it a building? Or once a house, a barn? It looks kind of flat. I don't know if the roof has caved in or not, but yeah, it just stood out to me. You know, when you think of abandoned places, like even when you're exploring or just out somewhere, when you see an abandoned building, you know it's got that presence and obviously the visual look of it. And if it's abandoned, it means really no one visits it, you know, especially if it's not well known. Like, no one really owns it anymore, I guess. It's just left, forgotten about. So that would be the type of location you may hide somebody or squat, whichever. So the coordinates at the bottom right corner of the screen. Once again, there seems to be a bit of a perimeter. It could be fencing. You can see like a black outline around, like a border. So yeah, that's one of the first key locations to possibly investigate and explore if people wish to do so. Now, let's just zoom out. I might have missed one spot in this area. Right, just make sure we're facing north. Nearby, you got some other stuff going on. Actually, we probably could get to that shortly. Can you see that? A few more containers. So this is number 2, this area. And I'm it's probably linked on. Looks like a collection of material, once again, tied to this place here. Yeah. Few containers lying about. Got a dirt road that comes down here to another patch of land, which seems to be in use for something. Once again, you got more containers, which is interesting. Some more here as well. This one as well, that one looks a bit dodgy. Looks like a bit of rubbish as well on the outside of it. I'd say, in my personal opinion, when you do have containers next to a business, not as suspicious. When you've got multiple containers in a populated area, not as suspicious. When you do have a singular container or 2 which are rough looking and in the middle of nowhere, like I showed you kind of like on Dylan's land further north, where it looked like there was a digger, where it's just, it just stands out because there's nothing else around. It doesn't look like it's connected or tied to anything or anyone. Then it seems a bit more spooky in a way. So yeah, did I miss anything in this area? Sometimes you've really got to zoom in because some things are just very small to the eye, especially from aerial view, and when you're zoomed out, it's difficult to see what's going on. Now, if we just follow that dirt road, as I said, it keeps coming down. It's like a winding one. You got some more stuff going on there. You got an orange container, a few vehicles, the odd building. If you wonder what that like greenish colour is, I think it's like the lens or some kind of, what do you call it, blur, because of the sunlight, you know, with the camera, I guess, when taking the photos. So nothing too odd there. Now, if I just zoom out, you can see the winding road. It does continue on to the another abandoned spot, which we'll take a look at. But what I will do is I will transition over onto the PC shortly, because as you can see, it's blurred out massively and I don't know why, but we've not got to that point yet, so we can still continue with the other key locations, okay? So number 3 is down here. And there's the coordinates down below. We just flip the screen. There's Montello further on up north. Bit of a distance, but yeah. Looks like there's a crossroad. If I'm not wrong saying that, looks like a main road, or just like one of the main roads at least to get in to the locations. Got a few buildings. So which one should we take a look at first? Let's just take a look at this one here. So if I had to give a guess, you know, it could just be a house and people live there, but from looking at this point here, this looks like some kind of dirt track, like racing, whether it be quad bikes, motorbikes, maybe a car. Could be a place where people hang out and spend money to drive around the track, like a little business possibly. It just looks like it the way it's shaped. There is an outline that goes around it. Little building here. Can't imagine this being a dodgy location, not at all, but if people live here, run a business, maybe Dylan might have visited here at some point. You know, if it is to do with racing, driving around, having a bit of fun, hanging out, maybe Dylan went to this location at some point. You never know. Maybe someone might know about Dylan. So yeah, that's worth taking into mind. Near to it, you do have this location. As you can see, just the colouring of it like a square. I don't know if it's another perimeter or the image quality different, but yeah. We zoom in here. 2 more barns or sheds with 1 vehicle parked nearby. It could be a house. It's hard to tell. And this looks more like a barn or a shed, yeah. Got the brown stuff around the back. Don't know what that is. Still haven't figured it out. You can let me know down below in the comments, in the chat, if you do know. That looks like a little caravan of some sort. And then some other bits and bobs. Bit more remote looking, not as populated or people. So someone could be living on this land, this area. Is there any other key spots nearby? Actually, just a quick observation. This bit here, when you look at the outer part of it, in each corner of the square, if you want to call it that, there seems to be some like brown thing. So you see that there, in that corner, then that there in that corner, and so on. Little mound there, and one there. It could be a dirt mound, but it's just weird how it's in each corner again. Kind of catches my eye. And then there we go, we reached the boundary down here. I know you've got that building there which you can't quite see, but I've just kind of limited it to the distance of where to search or investigate, explore, because you don't want to be going too far out because it might become a bit impractical. And as well, you've got to take in consideration, once you get past this area, it becomes pretty desolate. You see all the mountain ranges and stuff. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at it from that angle, that's what we're dealing with. You know, you've got a good viewpoint, good elevation, and yeah, that's where most of the stuff is situated, or the people, the buildings. So that's why I've done that. Just wanted to let you know, okay? So, whilst we've covered number 3 nearby, there is another key spot to look at, another container. And as I said, this was an example of one which is more separated from like the other ones you've seen beforehand. We zoom in here, it's on the side of a dirt road. I think I'm correct in saying it's a container. Next to it looks like maybe an RV. And then in between it is some kind of square box. Could that be where someone has a little shower? Or is it like a rubbish pit? I'm not quite sure. And yes, yeah, again, it's brown on the ground around. Could be just mud maybe, if people have been walking in the area. But that container next to the RV, that's might just be for simply storing stuff, but that's like the type of environment or situation where you might get someone held hostage whilst the suspect keeps an eye out on them to make sure that they don't try escaping, to keep them alive for whatever reasons, to give them food and stuff. And really the only way to do that practically is to be in proximity of the victim. So living nearby with the correct equipment and stuff to stay alive. So could this be the case? Maybe. So maybe it's worth exploring this part. Coordinates bottom right corner of the screen right now. So just zoom out again. Which one are we on to now? Is there anything else nearby I've missed? Doesn't look like it. Seems to be a bit of discoloration. I don't know if that's a rainbow, but not too much of importance. Yeah, I think what we'll move on to now is the next new colour-coded thing, which is a point of interest, the yellow one down here. I called it a hole. Maybe some of the people have called it a waterhole. It's kind of on the boundary, okay? It'll make sense to why I've marked it like this. So that does look interesting. When you see that circular hole and it's just pure black, it's like, whoa, what goes into that hole? You know, how deep does it go? You know, it's open to interpretation when you look at it. There just seems to be like a little pathway there, and then it's black in the middle. I don't know if that's like a lake or another hole, but this one definitely does stand out. It could be for water, whether it be water that goes underground and is supplied to the residents and people that live in Montello and nearby the outer skirts. There is some kind of little building nearby. It's like a water pump, a water station, or just simply a water hole. It'll make more sense to why I listed it in a second. So yeah, a little bit grainy, the quality. White stuff there. The coordinates, 4110 06 north, 114 1315 west. Now, there's a few of these and we'll come across them later on in the video, but the reason why I wanted to mark this spot is if there is some form of hole, could even be a mine shaft, it could be a cave, whatever it is, if you can push somebody into it and no one will know about it and the person can't get back out and they're concealed, they're hidden, it's the perfect spot to dispose of someone or something. Now, there is one point to make note of, and I'll just say it now, might as well. If it is water and a body has been dumped into it and that water is distributed throughout the town, the area, it's going to get polluted, isn't it? You know, when the body decomposes and all the liquids within come out and stuff, it's going to make the water turn a bit dodgy, right? So the taste of it could cause a disease, it could cause some kind of health risk, and people may notice it visually or maybe physically. So if someone was dumped here, then I don't know if people would pick up on it because of it being a main water supply. If it's just simply a hole or water isolated from the general public, then I guess you can get away with it. Still possibly worth investigating to see what the area looks like. It could be of interest. I don't know if you'd be able to drop a camera within it or not. Might not be exactly practical. But yeah, it just stands out, that black hole. Even when you zoomed out, it caught my attention at least. I noticed a pattern with these though, as you'll see in the video. There's like all these like white lines, scrape marks. I don't know what that is. I don't know if machinery's caused it or not. Can you see? It spreads out like roots. Looks a bit weird. Okay. So where are we at now? So we've done number 3. Right, it's now number 4. Okay. What's down here just quickly? I know it's outside of the border, but I might as well just cover it here. Once again, looks the same as what we've seen previously. Few buildings, looks like a few RVs, container there. You know, with all these different businesses, if Dylan's a farmer, whatever he grows or produces, distributes, he might have gone to these places at a point in time, you know. And if someone was to investigate these locations where people live, work, operate, and they've seen Dylan, they might be able to record how Dylan was at the time, his body language, his presence. Did he look distressed? Did he look hurt? Anything like that. So I just wanted to reiterate that point. Right, so number 4 is up this way. Now, yeah, you've got that building here, kind of circular. A few red trucks. That kind of looks abandoned as well. Coordinates at bottom corner. Next to a main road from the looks of it. Unless that's a railway track. Yeah. Just another little interesting spot here. Main building there, surrounded by cars. Could be a scrapyard or a place where people hang out. Yeah. Well, if we move back to the main one, number 4 here. Slightly smaller. This is more interesting. This seems a bit more personal, a bit more secluded in a way. Looks to be 2 RVs, so maybe 2 people. Could be a family, you never know, living here. This is kind of similar to how it looks closer to Dylan's land across the border, Utah. So on Dylan's side, on his land or nearby, you had RVs, 2 of them, which look like this. So kind of interesting. When you do see these little spots, it makes you wonder, who's it? Who owns it? You know, could it be Jim? Could it be Don? Could it be Chase? And you might say, yeah, but no, he's squatting on Dylan's land. He's further afar. What are you saying? Well, I said there's been information over time. There's been talks and discussions that, maybe the likes of Jim, Don own property or own land elsewhere. So they might have multiple homes. You know what I'm saying? And also, another key point to link back to what I mentioned at the start of this video is because these are mobile homes, they can move. And because these maps are somewhat out of date, I think 2021 maybe, they could have been moved since. These could appear on Dylan's land now or somewhere else in Montello. You never know. So we can always look back historically and see what shows what's present and then what's missing. So yeah, worth just pointing out. So that's like another spot. Once again, it's near one of the roads, as you can see. So that's number 4. Now, I missed out number 5 because probably I can't count. Well done me. But if we go on to number 6, which is up this way, which is actually close to number 2, okay? This one is a little dodgy. So you got like a main dirt road there. You can see how long it is as well. Covers a lot of distance. As you can see, goes all the way up that way. And then there's a turn-off point here, which just goes to a bit of like a dead end, a horseshoe. You got that brown stuff again, almost like a perimeter square box. It must be fencing. It must be like a thin fence, which you can just about make out. And then this here, looks like an RV next to a shelter, a shack. It looks like a roof. It looks like there is bits of items, maybe cardboard or wood, plastic, shoved underneath, which is just about peeking out from the roof. Could be a little drop-off point, equipment to store. Whilst I'm going through all these, they could be undercover meth labs, because whilst people don't talk about them or say where they are exactly, you can't really hide them on ground level when, you know, you've got like aerial shots being taken. Unless it's underground, you won't be able to see it, but you can if it's on ground. So yeah, you've got that. Just want to go back to that dirt road because I did see something black down here. Looks to be a vehicle. Kind of a longish one. Yeah, interesting. Don't really capture that many cars on the roads directly. So it's interesting when you do see them. Okay. So yeah, that's number 6. Is there anything else nearby which I've not covered? I've covered that one. Yeah. Okay, so we move on to number 7. Okay, so number 7 is down here. We zoom in. We've got yet another isolated object, which appears to be a trailer. Now, just flip the screen. There you go. It's on what looks to be another main dirt road. You can see how things are scattered about. But once again, this location, quite desolate, quite empty, not near a neighbourhood or a community. I don't know if I said before, but I am still using mobile because it looks like it's processed the image quality, thankfully. So we just zoom on in here. It looks like you've got 2 RVs once again, and then a smaller building next to it, and some kind of like rectangular or square box. Now, is this where someone is living once again, just like squatting on land in the middle of nowhere? Is it a small scale farm? I'm not sure, but because of the size of it, where it's situated, you know, it could be someone's living here and then that's like a small little shed in which Dylan could be locked up. It's just like a theory, a concept to visualise, because it just looks like it. You never know. Let me know in the chat. Oh, there's the coordinates from. Let me know in the chat if anyone has been here or within the area. So yeah, that's number 7. Is there anything else that shows? The light coloured around the on the ground. That's about it. Not too much going on there. So, is there anything else in proximity? Okay. It's interesting when you get these like little patches where it's like when you get someone's head and you get a bold patch like this. I don't know why it is. It could. I mean, I have seen similar texture, colouring of ground, what you might see at Groom Lake near Area 51, you know, that sort of stuff. And even 40 miles or 25 miles onwards, heading north down Jomay Canyon in Nevada. They do look similar, so it's probably natural. This part, once again, because of it being like a box, and there's track marks as well, maybe there has been farming. Some vehicle has been within this area. I don't know who it's connected to, but I guess this is what you've got to understand. I mean, there is several like buildings, you know, within the area. Like number 3, you got like 2 lots of buildings and stuff going on. Number 8, you got some stuff over there, and then number 7, they could be all interlinking with one another, because you might get a field which then connects onto another field or another piece of land, and like the farms, the barns could all link to one another but be separated. It's just how, you know, it's how things work, you know, even in the UK, the way you might see a farmyard, but then across the road further on other land, it's connected. We see it with Dylan's land as well. So not only is it trying to understand that things might be linked together, but you know, the people as well that operate on one piece of land to another, they may own it. So yeah, let's just get back on track. Apologies. So you got Crossroads. Now, okay, we can do that shortly afterwards. I just want to make sure I've not missed anything. It's just because there was one key location where it was blurred out. I think it's, which one is it? It's the one near number 16. So I can return to that afterwards. I just don't want to miss anything out as I'm recording because I had to stop and start the video earlier. So I don't know what all this patchy stuff is. It looks a bit weird. Could it be some kind of crops or some kind of like state of farming? Probably not, because there's a lot of it, but it doesn't look like vegetation. Okay. Any other things? Well, you've got more like little pathways here and like roads where it just goes off, and then there's no real track marks after that. But we saw this at Dylan's farm. Do you know where the boots were found? I probably can show you, where it just goes off as a path and then just abruptly ends. If we just zoom out very quickly, apologies, I just want to do it as like a reference point. You see what I mean? Maybe it's not the best example, but where it goes off onto complete off-road and there's a brief track and then it just abruptly ends. So kind of similar. Just wanted to add that point in. Anyway, where were we? Number 7? Yeah. So we reached the boundary line. There doesn't seem to be anything else of interest that stands out. We've covered most over that way, east. Most of east. Now we need to go west. Okay, we need to go to the west side. And we'll start from the bottom, work our way up. There's a couple of points here. Also, I just wanted to point out, because I didn't do earlier, once we get to this point, it's like the boundary line, the border, that's it, the borderline. In the middle situated, you've got the mountain tops. So you get good range of both sides of Montello, Nevada, and Lucin, Utah, okay? So that's why I've done that. That's why that border's there, just to separate the two, to make it clearer and easier. Once we get west, well, once we move to the side west, looking up north, it is bumpy. And you can see there's less markers, but that's just because you're getting near to the mountainous area where obviously there'd be less people. And there's been talks where people say they live in the mountains, etc., but this is probably an exception because of the location, because it's already quiet anyway. So with that in mind, let's just go back down here. Apologies if I'm moving a little bit too quick, I'm trying. So we've done number 7, now it's number 8. So let's zoom in here. So with number 8, there's like 2 buildings nearby. You got a few more dirt roads. We zoom in here. Interesting. For a second, when I zoomed in, I thought, is that like a flying saucer, a UFO? Because it was kind of like a frisbee shape with a green shine, but it's not. Anyway, once again, it looks like another compound, fenced off. You know, that's always something you can think of when there's a bit of like a compound going on, when there's a bit of protection, a bit of fencing and stuff, especially in the middle of nowhere where there'll be less people and, well, excluding this area because there's crime going on. When you're in a quieter place, there's less need to have safety measures, CCTV, because look, Saddle Saw Bar, no CCTV cameras from the looks of it. No one's used it, no one's mentioned it, and that could have showed Dylan, right? Why is there no cameras? Maybe because of money, maybe because there's not as much crime going on, or there's less going on, if you wanted to say it like that. But if that was the case, and you've actually got a place which is a little bit more secure, despite it being in the middle of nowhere, you know, mentally you think, oh, I wonder what they're trying to hide. Like, what's so secretive about this place? Why did they have to keep it under lock and key? I can't say for sure if it's under lock and key, if you know what I'm saying, in terms of the security measures, but they might have fences, they might have guard dogs. That's the other thing. When you're exploring, investigating the case, okay, with the Kenny Veach case, it was to do with making sure that wherever you are hiking, you're hiking in a safe area or being as safe as can be without going off track or getting the wrong coordinates and then being put in danger. In this case, it's making sure you don't come across the wrong people at the wrong time, whether it be the people or maybe they've got guard dogs. You never know. You know, some places can be rough, whether it's busy or not, rural or city-based. You can never be too sure. And something like this looks like some kind of campsite. You know, you got 2 RVs. This RV seems to have one of those canopies which attaches to the side and you just sit underneath it. You got another one there from the looks of it. A few bits of material. Is there any shooting ranges in in Montello? Any shooting ranges where people might go and fire off the guns? That is critical, that. To be fair, that is critical because where do the guns come from? Do they import them? Is there a store nearby? Is there any records of when people bought guns and not? You know what I'm saying? Or is it illegal, like the sneaking, smuggling it in? Is there any gun ranges within the area, official ones maybe, which might have a date record of when a certain gun was used at a certain point in time? What caliber, the bullet, you know? Could it be a day before Dylan was, disappeared? Was someone practicing, target practice, to make sure that they get a clean kill on Dylan? Oh my. Do you know what? I might do this as a separate video, to be honest. If people are watching right now, unless you give a valid, response and clear up any misinformation in the comment section, please do so. If there's none of that, like no strong certainty or clarification, I might make an individual video because although I know it's not 100% confirmed that Dylan is completely dead, it's not 100% confirmed that how he was killed if he was, but if you can do like a step before the other, might be able to speed up the process in a way. Anyway, that can be for another video because we're going a bit too deep. So, yeah, this area, it is what it is. Looks more to be like a camp where people hang out. Okay. Is there anything else nearby of interest? No. You got those like little mounds or holes, whatever they are. What's here? Some white stuff, but not much intrigue. Okay. Let's move down the pathway. Okay. That's what it looks like. Scattered around. You can see it's kind of situated within them all. There we go. We just zoom in here, just to get an idea. So, does this look like a farm? It looks to be a farm, I guess. You got a few like little fields, but it's dusty looking. I can't see the word. Dusty looking coloured from the looks of it, but yeah, around it there is greenery, there is trees from the looks of it. God, look at that lens distortion, that blur. Whew, that's bright. But yeah, you got a few more buildings here. Little white one there. Some sheds. Have you seen that? That looks like another waterhole, maybe. I may be wrong, but it kind of looks similar. The way it's black and circular, like. Then you got a few more buildings here. And then that as well. Because that looks dark. Is that like some kind of like cellar or mine shaft? I might be completely wrong. It might just be the shadowing, but it just looked like an opening if you used to go underground. Probably in the wrong area there because it's not directly next to a house. There's a couple of black holes, isn't there? Look at them. Could they be puddles instead? I don't know. Maybe they're not exactly water holes, but yeah. It's a bit grainy. you've got a white thing there, and I don't know if that is a gate, maybe. Like what you saw on Dylan's land, that black line. But yeah, I can imagine that being connected with, where is it now? With up here, wherever that building was. Okay. That one up there. Yeah, that one. Possibility. They're close. Right, anything else? Doesn't look like it. Let's move to the second waterhole from the looks of it, the way I've mapped it out. And this is where we do notice something which I can clear up if there is any misunderstanding. So you see that there, okay? That black thing. I believe that is an overhead line, like a power line or whatever you call it, an overhead line, because there is a couple of them. I need to try and find another one. There you go. There's another one. Is there any more? Yep, there's another one. There should be one there. Yep. And it goes on, which reaches out to the neighbourhood, people that live nearby. So, is this connected to the waterhole, or is this like the source of it? It's just because they're all centred around the circumference of this. Do you call it circumference? The outer part of this area. Because you see all those like lines again. I don't know if they're the cables or not. But regardless, as you can see, it's there's the coordinates if you needed them. As you can see, it's another dirt road. Almost visually looks the same in terms of the hole itself. Black, dark, probably deep. Who knows what is in there. Could Dylan have been pushed or dumped down this hole? I don't know. Maybe one of them. How far away is it? It seems to be on a kind of like main dirt road. Can we just measure it very quickly? Just to get that idea, because whilst you've got these locations of people that live in a certain area that may know of Dylan or know of something, you might also get the locations where someone's made the journey down to the spot. Where's Montello? Where is it? I don't think it's it. Well, actually, it looks like a straight line. Almost a straight line. Oh no, because you hit this farm. Never mind, let's just go right across, go off-road. 7.23 miles, once again, not that bad. 7 miles, Dylan covered 5 miles on foot where he lived, so not that much more. Most likely, suspects, the potential ones, would have been in a car, probably. Maybe Dylan's. And that's why it got dirty. Made the journey to Montello, maybe. Okay. But you get my idea. Okay. So, anything over here to the right? I think there is just two to three way over there, but they're different numbers. So we've done 8. Now we need to move to number 9. Did I cover that one? No, I've not covered that one yet. Okay. Number 9. So this is number 9. Another odd, kind of a weird shape this, not going to lie. It's designated, zoned out. Looks like there's been vehicles on it. At that point in time, a few cars. Few trailers, maybe a truck of some sort. A trailer maybe. Some containers. A building. Don't know if that's a house or not. Yeah, it's just one of those blue markers. If you went down there, could you tell them, ask them questions? Do you know about Dylan? Do you know about the situation? Like, it doesn't even have to be about Dylan, to be honest. They could just simply ask, do you know anyone called Don Hatley or Don Hanson or Don Hadley, whatever he goes by the name of? Do you know about Roberts? Do you know about Jim? Jim Brenner, I mean. So it doesn't always have to be questioning about the victim, the person missing. You can also question the suspect. We just rotate looking northeast. Well, I think I got the compass wrong just earlier when I said we'll go west. I meant we'll go east. I forgot to include that. Right. So that's what it looks like. I just like to flip the screen every now and then just so you get the idea of ground level. Just get a better perspective. But you will notice there is patches, there is areas where it looks like it's been marked out or there's been vehicles on it, maybe crops growing, because it is farmland at the end of the day. Anything else? Well, we'll go back to that afterwards. I'm just trying to avoid certain parts because some not out of sync. So yeah, that's number 9. Where's number 10? There we go. It's up here. There we go. We get onto it now. So it's basically right next to the border. Well, maybe a little under. And there's 2 key places here, okay? Now, I think this might be the spot I was talking about last time in my previous map analysis video, but I failed to mention it properly because I said, oh, we'll get back to this one, but I forgot to. So I guess it's worth covering now. So someone told me in the comment section previously that this is a mining place. I don't know if it's directly a mine shaft, but a mining place, and Dylan could be here, whether he was thrown in or not. One point I will make note of, if there is an active mining place, mine shaft, it seems unlikely that Dylan would be thrown, dumped, left there, because you'll get workers within the area who would maybe come across Dylan. So it just wouldn't be practical. It tends to be an abandoned place, whether it be an abandoned building, barn, farm, or mine shaft, or cave. But we'll still look at this anyway because we might as well cover all the area. Coordinates, bottom right hand corner of the screen. As you can see, there's nothing else north, so we don't need to look that way. The rest of the stuff will be in the midsection of Montello. Okay. Anything on the mountaintops? Not really. Okay. But you can see it's lightly coloured. Now, I don't know if that's because of the mining, the material, the resources within the area. Could well be the case. Zoom in here. The ground, the land's a bit steep looking. We've got some buildings there which do look pretty old and rough. Yeah, you see the bit of rust. It does look wooden mainly. Interesting. There's a few different pathways going on. Not much there. I don't know what that is. You got like a crate there, but I don't know if that's a sign or like almost like an outpost, like a tower. Can't quite make it out, but there's a bit of shadowing, so there's a bit of elevation going on. Now, is it within this area I saw something else? I can't remember. A little bit grainy in quality within this area. Quite a few trees. But there is still quite a few pathways. So it's like, how often are they used? Yeah. Let me just zoom out for a second. Okay. So you got a few more things going on here, to be honest. You got like a vehicle there with a trailer attached to it. Some boxes. Another container. Some wood pile next to it. Is that an RV? Little cubicle? A van? Yeah. You got East Canyon up that way. Is that water, maybe? And then you start getting into that other farmland. Okay. Yeah. So there isn't as much going on in this area, to be fair. Got a few dirt tracks. But here we go. So I just wanted to leave this one a second. Abandoned barn. You can see it's not too far away from number 10, point 10. There just seem to be out, yeah, you see all the vegetation around. And in this one spot you see just a little clump, a collection of more matured trees or bushes out of nowhere. This is what I'm talking about. Look at that. That's definitely abandoned from the looks of it. It's wooden, it's like a wooden shed or a barn. It's got like a little, what do you call it? Just like a fence around where maybe horses or some kind of animals might have been at some point to hold them in. But you can tell the fence is broken, there's gaps, so there's no animals there anymore. And the shed itself, you know, the holes in it, not exactly in the best of conditions. Now you could be thinking, if it's that abandoned and worn, well, if Dylan was held captive there or just left there, providing he's still alive, couldn't he just escape? Well, one, depends on the injuries. If the injuries are bad, whether it be like a broken leg, arm, he might not be able to move at all. If he's dead, well, he can't do anything. Or if he is alive and maybe not that injured but tied up pretty good, then he won't be able to do anything. So you just got to take into mind all these different factors, okay? Yeah, nearby, there's not much going on. There's like little blocks of wood or cuttings maybe. Yeah, I don't think there is much else in this area. I'll just give you the coordinates if you haven't checked already. Bottom right corner of the screen, they should be correct. And you might not be able to copy and paste them, but you should be able to write them down at least. If you're on mobile though, if you screenshot, and I don't know if it applies to all devices, but if you take a screenshot or take a photo and you hold down on the image, you can actually copy and paste any text that's on that image you've taken, okay? Or numbers as well. When it comes to foreign language with a different visual look like Russian, Arabic, it doesn't work then, from at least my experience, but English, it works. So that's good. And probably French as well. French, like, you know what I'm saying, the alphabet. Okay, so that's number 10 complete. We move on to number 11. Where's number 11? Up here. You can see it's a little bit out of place, I know, but it is what it is. Look, you've actually got a cluster of key locations here. Now, just flip it. We're right on the border, which I've designated. And we're actually past the town of Montello. Still not too far away, but further out though. And we'll focus on number 11 first of all. Okay, so it's probably not the clearest, unfortunately. Hopefully, everywhere. Is that one clear? Yeah, they're okay. Okay. There we go. Whew. I don't think it was going to render then. I don't want any more problems. This is interesting. Now, I don't know why I labelled it as blue because it looks a bit more interesting than it is. No, it looks more interesting. That's what I should say. I've misworded them. The reason why I say that is because you just got a random collection of vehicles, not exactly parked perfectly, just scattered like that. Now, is it people that lived there? Because it doesn't look like a farm, like a proper one. In terms of what's nearby, could it be connected to a farm? Not from the looks of it, unless it's got something to do with something up here. But once again, that looks isolated. We'll leave that one out, okay? Is it like a shooting range? where they hang out, and then fire the guns in the distance. So you've got a yellow truck maybe, you've got a container, you've got 2 cars, then you've got an RV, 3 of them I think. That's what it looks like, to be honest. Yeah. And then you've got something there, which I'm not sure what it is. Okay. Just below it, if I can find it again, there we go. We've got the 3rd waterhole. You've got all those white lines as they're spread out. A little bit blurry, unfortunately, but it basically looks the same as how all the others appear. There does seem to be something of colour there, but I'm not sure what it is exactly. Maybe it'll recalibrate, hopefully. It must just be a glitch with Google Earth. But it's just like another waterhole, once again. So it's like that questioning of, could Dylan have been pushed down it? Because there's different options. Yeah, okay. We'll leave it there. Then down here we've got an abandoned containers, more than one from the looks of it. Now this is dodgy. Look how they're just scattered about. You got one here. It looks like one and a very small one. Is it open? I don't know. You can't really make it out if they're open or closed, but it's just the way they line about. In the middle of nowhere. 2 more there. Look rusty, look old and worn. Is anyone inside of them? Who knows? That's what it looks like. Just rotate the screen a little bit more. Definitely far away from Montello, the town, so it's, even though it's already rural and quiet, it's further out, so not many people may come across this. Let me know if this has been explored, this area. I mean, one of those things where helicopters, maybe, people like Heavy D might have been within the area, flew over, might have captured it, and people have said, okay, we've seen all this land, we've covered it, we've not seen anyone walking around, we've not seen nothing, no remains, no one flat down in a ditch. But this is the thing, even like now, aerial view. Yeah, you might see objects, you might see items, but you don't see anyone. Maybe that someone is inside one of the objects, such as the container. That's what you've got to, acknowledge. Okay, did that render in the end? Way, finally, thankfully. There you go. Now, I wanted just to return back to this because it's a little different, this one. You've got a patch there, which I'm not quite sure about, but then you've got the hole here. And then next to it, there seems to be something maybe attached to it, like a U-shaped thing, a capital U. I don't know, could that be some kind of pulley? Could it be like what you might get at a well? It winds down inside. Is it a lift? I'm not sure what it could be, to be fair. But yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, you got that. We just zoom out now. Number 11. So now we move on to number 12. And this one is actually right next to Montello town, which is here, as you can see. So let's have a closer look and see what's present here. Now, if I'm correct in saying it kind of looks abandoned. Now, I don't know if this is the spot Salty Pancakes drove past. it all looks the same in a way. You got an abandoned place on a dirt road and the terrain looks very similar. When we zoom in here, looks to be a bit of a bigger building. I don't know if the roof is caved in or not, it's hard to tell. Can you see? Let me know if you see anything yourself, if you can identify the type of building. You can even let me know down below what it may be used for. Is it one of those meth labs or is it just not in use at all? Okay. Just flip the image. As I said, It's a lot closer to Montello compared to like the other places. Where's Montello anyway gone? There you go. Do you know where that purple star is? Just in the distance. That's Montello. Bit closer by. On a main road as well. So there's not much going on here. But someone... Dylan could be here maybe. So that's number 12. Any other smaller buildings nearby? Oh, is that another vehicle caught on camera? Interesting. See, this is what I mean. There are other places which aren't as well, which may be busier, and yet when you look at the dirt roads, like when I was looking at Jomay Canyon, Jomay Road, do you know, like the roads there or a bit before it, like on the main roads, the highway, there's no vehicles at all, and yet you've got Montello, which is even more of a ghost town, and yet there's actually vehicles caught on the road, even though it's even more of a dead place. It's just a bit ironic in a way. There's not much else. I mean, you've got like, unfortunately it's not rendering, but it looks like drums of some sort. So yeah, not much of interest there. Bits of patchy land. Yeah. And then that looks like the highway. Or one of them is. Okay, now I know. I think I actually know this time. That's like the highway, the main road with the yellow line. And then in parallel to it, this is the choo-choo train tracks, because I can actually see the tracks. Well, I've managed to solve one thing in this video at least. That's something. So yeah, we've completed number 12 now. Maybe someone's passed it. With it being nearer to the main place where people have investigated, they might have gone down the odd road or so. I know when Salty Pancakes was within the area, I think he'd like do like a perimeter driving around with the bar. Can't remember where. Is that the bar? Somewhere round here. And Justin's truck may have been parked there. As Salty Pancakes drove down one of the roads, came out, and then to the left, Justin Brown's car was parked nearby, near to the bar, like a stakeout. But we've covered that place enough already. So that's number 12. We need to move on to number 13, which is back over here, oddly. Anyway. So with number 13, it's not as strange in the sense of a place where something could be stored, but just random in how it's located and what's present. That should be clearer. You've just got a vehicle just dumped there, and it doesn't look abandoned. You've got some items, I don't know if that's rubbish or not, piled up. And then next to it, like a pen, maybe where horses might be, or some kind of animals. Just a little random, but then again, it could just be a farmer or some worker who's parked up to tend to animals or walking around. There's always that, but you know, like even like if I've been out somewhere or I've gone past somewhere and you just see a car abandoned in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. Like this could be an example of a scene, a setting where the suspect might have been caught on camera, parked up in the middle of nowhere, and then disposing of Dylan or revisiting the area to check on him. I'm not saying this is the case because this is 2021, the imaging, but it's just like an idea of what you could come across. Some more material there. There isn't too much going on in this spot, but I just wanted to mark it out because it's the only bit of human life form here. Number 14, we go right here now, within this zone. Is there much going on? You got that white stuff again. Not much there. What's this? Now, there's not much going on here. That looks like maybe a tower. Is it a water tower? I'm not too sure. And next to it, it looks like some kind of building or some structure in like wooden but damaged. And then you got these like little fields with fences on, where maybe horses might go or whatever else, wildlife. But it looks pretty empty from there, at least. Yeah. And I think there's a couple of like buildings. Yeah, there is. Okay, there's like 3 of them. So what we'll do, we'll start off with the hole. Once again, you got another like waterhole, a big one, and then a smaller one next to it. Could Dylan be in one of them? Is this another alternative? Next to a main road once again, or dirt road I should say. Coordinates are bottom corner of the screen. The third one is over that way. Do they link together? I'm not too sure, maybe you might know. Where's the other? You got the other one over there, that yellow one. And any more? And then one there. So, I might be wrong, but this is like the one in the middle, and then the rest are scattered on the outer skirts from the looks of it. That's kind of interesting. Did I show you that container one? I can't remember. I don't think I showed you that. I'll show you now before I forget. So nearby to the 4th hole, heading north. Actually, I don't know if I did show you it or not. It's hard to keep up. I'll show you anyway now. Containers. A few of them. Kind of looks a bit dodgy. You got one RV with 2 like sheds, and then 2 trailers. One old red one and then a blue one. Kind of looks a bit weird the way it sits. Yeah. Right. So we've done the hole. And then there's a few buildings here. Definitely a lot of action been going on in these fields. You can see the turnaround marks, the tracks going up and down the land. So it's much more stuff going on here, farming related. It's like a typical farm, a few vehicles, maybe a house, some barns, a few people working within the area. Maybe they know something if you questioned them. Anything else? Nothing out of the ordinary, just looks more active, I'd say. Nearby, you've got another place here which is interesting. Is that a shelter? Or another kind of container? I'm not quite sure. Bluish. Much darker here. I don't know if it's the lighting. Let me know if you see anything odd. You got vehicles here, a few of them. Don't know if there's any logs about. It's just the way the cars are. Is it a scrapyard? More containers once again. And just darker colouring overall. And then what's this spiky stuff? Is that like bushes maybe? Looks a bit weird. Yeah, there's not really much to say about this point. Just like a few connecting buildings and stuff. Yeah. What's that? Not much going on. Okay, so that was number 14. Don't know if I covered that bit. There's the coordinates, bottom right corner of the screen. A few more containers. The odd vehicle. Fair few vehicles in such a quiet place. You know what I'm saying? And a few more like boundaries. Outers, like a square box again. Yeah. I think that's it for that area. We'll just go to the next key place, which is just below it. As you can see, the debris. What's this all about? So it's not exactly clear, but you can just see there's like a lot of items scattered about. I don't know if the building's been knocked down, if it'd be through weathering, because it's an old building, made out of wood maybe. I don't know. Or it might just be a dumping ground, but you can make out there's like planks of wood and bits and bobs scattered about. Yeah. Like a burial ground, like someone could be hidden or buried underneath stuff. Could be in a crop field, a field in general, or if there's a lot of debris around, lots of things dumped on top of somebody. You never know. Sounds bad, but it's a possibility. So that was 14. We moved on to 15, which is just across, going east. You can see those power lines again, which continue all the way up, as you can see. Now with 15, next to that power line, we zoom in here. Once again, it just looks a bit abandoned and worn. So you got two more, or no, maybe one container. Bit of trash and rubbish from the looks of it, scattered around. It's one of those things where it might be the temperature, the weather, though at times it might rain. You know, is it safe leaving out material to that environment? Does it wear down? Does it break? Does it devalue? Or does it not matter? You can leave a comment in the chat or something, because I know in other countries they'll store it in a warehouse, but if you don't have access to that, I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere, what can you do? It's a little question. So with it being remote, just one vehicle parked up. Could Dylan be here? Coordinates, bottom corner of the screen, if you wish to take a look yourself. Are there any track marks? There seems to be a few track marks, so maybe it is used for farming. You got those designated points once again, that land where you can see it. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, okay. So number 16 is back over this way. Yeah. This one doesn't look as dodgy, but there's a bit of activity. Someone might know something if you went up to ask them. A barn there maybe, another shed. So I've not seen any proper houses yet, but then again, I might have mistaken some of them, because when I looked at Montello that time, before looking at the footage, I just assumed it was like businesses and companies where they just do deals and trading, but it was an actual neighbourhood, but you couldn't tell by the roofing and just a visual look of it. So you never know, I might misinterpret some of these buildings as, you know, turn out to be houses, but you can correct me down below. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so that's number 16. Near to it, I don't know if I covered that one. Did I? I think I did. That one lone shed down there. That one lone shed just right there. Looks a little weird the way it's just placed. And then some object there as well. Just, yeah. It's like one of those things, like, not even to do with people, but sometimes when you've seen it on YouTube and they've been exploring farmland in France or maybe Australia, and then they come across an old barn find of a car, maybe it'd be a classic one, a rare one, just buried inside or tucked away, and no one ever knew about it until coming across it, some strangers. You never know what you might find. It can be good, but it can also be bad at times. Right, I just want to make sure. So I think I covered that one. If I didn't already, I did. And then there is one more up here. Coordinates facing north. This one's kind of weird. Can you see, like, it's like teardrops in a way. Just like weird patterns, but someone created it with some kind of machinery. Just looks a bit odd. So you got kind of like an orange container there, bits of wood on the outside, and maybe like a shed or some kind of shack, wooden or corrugated roof. It does look rough. And then some stuff there. Just looks weird, right? Let me know what you think. Does this look weird? Does this look like a place where Dylan might be kept? Captive, maybe? Let me know. So I think I've actually covered most of it. What the hell's that? That looks like a racetrack. That actually looks like a racetrack. That's interesting, that. Interesting. That's going a bit too far over that way. Did we do number 18? I can't remember. So yeah, you've got that there. Ah, we didn't do number 17. I just remembered, I think. We didn't do number 17. 17's up this way. Apologies. Look at all that. Look at all that. It must be a junkyard, right? Because there's so much material all on top of each other. Unless it's a place for storing things, like a trading outpost. It looks like there's 2 containers there, or 2 RVs, but then it's at a weird angle. It's like there is stuff on top of it, like half burying it. That's kind of weird. Yeah. Anything else that way? No, just a long road. Just rotate. They kind of look like RVs. It's hard to tell. Yeah, there's quite a few buildings here. Maybe places to hide or store things, hide people. You do have another red vehicle there from the looks of it. And then actually that almost looks like a vehicle with a trailer, RV trailer attached to it on the move. I might be wrong. It looks like it though. Yeah. So there's a lot of clutter. A lot of clutter in this spot. Coordinates bottom right corner of the screen. Okay. And then finally we move on to 18, which I forgot to do before. So you've got this spot here, which looks like a sign. That does look like a sign, yeah. Then you've got some random, either container or RV just parked on the side. Bit random. And then and you've got this spot here, kind of similar to what we've seen previously. A couple of vehicles parked around, a couple more RVs or like units and containers scattered about. So yeah, that basically sums Montello up, all the different locations to potentially search, places to go and question people, investigate, answer, places of interest which could be where Dylan's hidden, and then places of like just desolateness, abandoned, suspicious, quiet, the sort of place you might hide someone or hold someone captive. So yeah. So hopefully I covered every angle, spot, place known. Whether people have explored them or not, it's just worth covering all in one video of one section, one side, because it's not been covered as much. Okay, Matt talked about Lucerne, Utah, Montello, the town itself, but what about the outer skirts? They're just as important, and that's what I tried to do in this video. You can leave a comment down below or right now what you think. Apologies if the video is long. This might just be like a one-off one because there was a lot of ground and area to cover, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know about the storage, to be fair, in terms of on my phone, because I think this might be a long video, so I don't know how I'll be able to export it because I've also got a lot of other material, videos, apps and games. So it could be a bit tricky, this. It might take some time to upload and process. Hopefully not too long. As for the live premiere itself, as it's rolling at the time, I don't know if people will be able to stick around or not. But you just got to do what you can at the end of the day, because not much you can do at the end of the day, I guess. But, look at this. Some people join early, which is good, appreciate. Some people join late. If the video's long enough, people will be able to join at a reasonable time to still be able to keep the conversation going, because whilst this video is ongoing and beforehand, for however long the whole video is, people can talk just in the comment section in the live chat, whether it be directly about the Dylan Rounds situation, sharing additional information, thoughts and talks about anything and everything with one another in the chat. It doesn't matter, you can do so. The video is long enough, I guess, to talk for a while. So yeah, and you can correct me if any mistakes are made in the video. So I think that is it for now. Okay, bit tiring, not well, it's just like piecing all together and everything. So yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Goodbye.